The suitcases were still spilling socks and sand when Dad proudly unrolled his bargain from Turkey. A hand-woven masterpiece, he declared, puffing out his chest as if he'd personally woven it between sunbathing and bartering. Mum raised an eyebrow. It looked suspiciously like the one outside the hotel gift shop, next to the inflatable flamingos. Billy's eyes widened. The rug shimmered faintly, as though it had swallowed a bit of Turkish sunshine. Sulky the cat sniffed it, sneezed, and stalked off with his usual look of disdain. Gran peered over her spectacles. That rug's got ideas above its station, she muttered, as if rugs should know their place. Dad spread it across the floor. See? Perfect for the lounge. Adds character. He stepped onto it with a flourish. The rug gave a sudden whoosh and lifted an inch off the ground. Dad wobbled, arms flapping like a startled pigeon. It's springy, he said, though his voice cracked like a teenager's. Billy clapped his hands. It's a flying carpet, he shouted, bouncing onto it before Mum could say, absolutely not. The rug rose higher, brushing the lampshade. Mum gasped. Dad grabbed the tea towel from his shoulder like it might help, and Gran calmly sipped her tea. Well, she said, beats the bus. The carpet hovered, humming softly, as if pleased to be noticed. Billy's grin stretched ear to ear. Can we keep it, Mum? Please? It's better than a dog. Mum pinched the bridge of her nose. Dogs don't knock over lampshades. Grandad shuffled in, slippers squeaking. He adjusted his glasses, peered at the floating rug, and nodded. Knew it. Turkish knots. Always a giveaway. The carpet dipped politely, as though bowing. Billy whooped. Dad muttered something about return policies, but the rug had already decided this family was going on an adventure, whether they liked it or not. The carpet whooshed out the French doors, dragging Billy, Dad, and a very unwilling Sulky clinging by his claws. Mum shouted, mind the begonias, but her voice was lost in the rush of wind. Up they soared, over the washing line where Gran's bloomers flapped like surrender flags. The neighbors froze mid-hedge trim, mouths open. Morning! Dad called, trying to sound casual while gripping the rug's edge like a man clinging to dignity. Billy leaned forward, steering with his socks. Left sock red, right sock blue, that means turbo mode, he declared. The carpet obeyed, swooping in a loop that made Dad's flannel shirt puff like a sail. Sulky yowled, his fur standing on end. Grandad, watching from below, cupped his hands. Steady on. You'll frighten the pigeons. Indeed, a flock scattered, offended at being upstaged. The carpet dipped low over the garden shed, nearly knocking off its roof. Dad groaned. This is not in the manual. Billy giggled. There isn't a manual, Dad. That's the fun. They skimmed the village green, startling Mrs. Peabody, who dropped her shopping bag. Oranges rolled across the pavement like runaway marbles. Flying carpets, she sniffed. Next it'll be hover hoovers. Billy whooped with joy. It's like riding a bike, but without the boring pedaling. Dad muttered, and with more chance of death. The carpet finally swooped back into the garden, landing with a bump that sent Sulky bolting for the shed. Mum folded her arms. Well, that's one way to air out the laundry. Saturday was market day, and Billy begged to take the carpet. Mum sighed. Fine, but no loops. Dad muttered, or lawsuits. The carpet glided into the market square, drawing gasps. Billy waved like royalty. Make way for the flying family, he cried. The rug dipped over the cheese stall, sending a wheel of cheddar rolling like a runaway boulder. Dad caught it just in time, though not before a toddler shouted, "Cheese UFO!" At the flower stall, Gran leaned over. Mind the dahlias. The carpet sneezed, scattering petals like confetti. Bless you, said Billy solemnly. Jock the cockerel, who had stowed away under Billy's dungarees, popped out with a triumphant crow. Not you too, Dad groaned. Jock strutted along the rug, barking orders like an admiral. Left wing down. Full speed ahead. The carpet obeyed, zooming past the fishmonger. A cod flew through the air, landing in Mrs. Peabody's handbag. The crowd erupted in laughter. Children clapped, adults muttered about health and safety gone mad. Billy beamed. "See, Dad? Everyone loves it." Dad, clutching his tea towel like a flag of surrender, muttered, "The council won't." The carpet finally settled by the bakery. Gran bought scones, Mum bought bread, and Dad bought aspirin. Billy patted the rug. Best shopping trip ever. By evening, the carpet lay quietly in the lounge, as if butter wouldn't melt in its tassels. Billy sprawled across it, cheeks flushed with joy. Best holiday souvenir ever, he sighed. Mum tucked a blanket around him. It's not exactly practical. Dad rubbed his temples. Or legal. Gran chuckled. Or boring. Which is the point? Grandad polished his glasses. Every family needs a bit of magic. Keeps the dust off the ordinary. Sulky padded in, tail high, and curled on the rug with a resigned sigh. Even he had accepted its place. Jock perched on the windowsill, crowing softly like a lullaby. Billy yawned. "Do you think it'll take us somewhere tomorrow?" Mum kissed his forehead. "Maybe. But tonight, it's taking you to bed." The rug gave the faintest hum, like a cat purring. Dad smiled despite himself. "Well, at least it doesn't shed." The family laughed, the room glowing with warmth. Outside, the stars twinkled, as if winking at the secret they now shared. Sometimes the best adventures aren't planned, they're rolled up in the corner, waiting to be unwrapped.